it's Angie with Blessed Life with Children. I have been thinking a lot about something that I've heard throughout the last few years of my life, and it's often said in Christian circles that is not exactly true. I can see what they're trying to say, and it sounds true, and I know what they're trying to say, but it was a real discouragement to me while I was going through one of my hardest times in life. And that is, all you need is God. Now, you hear that and you're thinking, well, yeah, all you need is God. But not exactly. For instance, let's say that you decide all you need is God. And you decide, I'm just going to sit here and meditate. You don't choose not to eat, you choose not to drink, because all you need is God. Well, your body actually does need food, and your body does actually need water. And yes, God has provided those for us, and that's where people are getting, all you need is God. All you need is God, and what He has provided for you is for your good. And I think they're also trying to say other things as well with that. But when I would hear this the most, I was pregnant, and I was throwing up 20 to 30 times a day. I was homeschooling my daughter. She was 12 at the time, and I had two foster kids. They were 1 and 2 years old. They were a little less than a year apart. And my husband was traveling a lot for his job, and we had just started our first business. And I was overwhelmed. I was very fortunate. I had my parents that helped me in the evenings, but they worked full time. And I mean, when you're throwing up 20 to 30 times a day, you really don't know what you need. And I think I was in survival mode. And so people would ask me, what do you need? And I was like, I don't even know. I mean, there were times when my 12-year-old daughter would make us food because I was in the bathroom and everybody was hungry, but I couldn't make food. I literally could not make food because I was not capable of doing it. And there were times when I was trying to get to places and I'd have to pull over to the side of the road, and I was not making it. And people were like, well, what can I do to help you? And I didn't know where to even start. It's like, I just need help. And so I couldn't give them an answer because I was in survival mode, and I was like, I need help with everything. I do know my mother-in-law had done my laundry a few times, and so did my husband's grandma, and that was a huge help. And they offered to do that, not even realizing, because I didn't realize that I needed that done because I was just trying to make it through the day. And yet I was hearing from many people, when I was saying I'm really struggling, and I didn't know where I was struggling, and I would hear, well, you know what, just turn to God. All you need is God. And I have thought about that a lot, through the years since that experience. And as much as I'm like, well, that sounds true, I started thinking, well, you do also need food. You also need water. And in Genesis, when God is making creation, everything is good. When He made the earth and the stars and the water and the animals, it was good. But when He made man, He realized it wasn't good. Man cannot live alone. And so Adam got a partner, and that was Eve. And I think that tells us not that we need a spouse, but that we need other people in our lives. And I began to realize that what they were trying to tell me through some of that wasn't that, for instance, I'm going to kind of change gears here. If you're really lonely, there's many things that you might do, and one of the things that a lot of people do is they turn to food. No matter how much food you eat, you're still going to be lonely because the food does not provide what you need. And I think sometimes we turn to people and try to get from them what we can only get from God. And I think that's what they were trying to say. and that's where they get that, is that it's kind of like, let's say you were a flower and you had roots. And you are the flower, God is the roots. You cannot survive without the roots. And yes, you need water. Yes, you need sunshine. Yes, you need nutrients that come from the soil. You need all of those things. But if you cut off those roots, then you will not survive. Like with water, let's say somebody poured tea in there and said, it's not water, but you could get the water from the tea. Or let's say you're not able to see the sun, but if there is artificial light, you can survive. But you can't have artificial roots. So yes, you do need God, but not all you need is God. And I guess you could say, there's snippets that come off and end up growing roots. Well, that would be like, your friends providing for you, so that way you get to know the Lord, and then the roots begin. And so I do understand what they're trying to say. They're trying to say you do need God, and yes, you do. But that's not all you need. You need bread, you need water, and God designed us to be social people. We need each other, and I think that's going to make me be more intentional with my life with other people. And I have been over the last year. Like, I even got a membership at the zoo that would allow me to bring 4 extra people every single time I go to the zoo. And so I have been going to the zoo like crazy, but it's not because I love the zoo. I mean, I do love the zoo, but it's because I like being able to bless other people and to spend time with other people. And that gave me an excuse this year to do it, by spending just a little bit extra. And people are like, free zoo? I love the zoo. And so they go. But we need to be conscious, when people are struggling, to figure out what their actual needs are, because, maybe their need that they have is something they need to get from God, like contentment we need to get from God. We cannot get that from other people. Happiness, we cannot get happiness from other people. I mean, there are a lot of things that other people cannot provide for us, that only God can provide for us, but we do need people in our life. We cannot live alone. A baby cannot survive if it doesn't have human touch. Human interaction is very important. So those are my thoughts today. Hope you enjoyed them.